Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. Today we are holding in Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. We are on Pei Aleph Amud Beis. We're continuing Hilchos Pesach. We are in Siman Taf Ayin Beis, and we're picking up at the very, very end of Sif Tes. So we did Sif Tes really yesterday, but we're picking up now at the end of Sif Tes. Let's take a look all the way at the top line of Pei Aleph Amud Beis. In the words of the Ramah said, "V'tzarich lishtais hashir shaloi behefsik gadol bein tayim." We have to drink the minimum amount of wine required to be yotze the mitzvah of dalet kaisais. We should drink it in such a manner that there should not be a great delay of time in the drinking process. You don't want to take a sip and then wait, and then take another sip and then wait. You want to drink that roiv revius, the amount of wine that you have to drink to be yotze the mitzvah. You want to drink it in a quick manner. What does that mean? Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut in Lamed Daled, shaloi behefsik gadol. You want to drink it in such a manner so that you don't have a great delay involved in the drinking. Dahainu, this means shaloi yishha b'shtias roiv hakois yotze michtei achilas pras. You should not delay in the drinking of the roiv kais. Now, the words of the Chavetz Chaim are the drinking of the roiv hakais, the majority of the kais. But this is the Chavetz Chaim is addressing a case over here where the kais that you have holds precisely a revius halug. So that in that case, the roiv of the kais, the majority of the kais, is a roiv revius. Roiv revius is the amount that you have to drink to be yotze the mitzvah. So what the Chavetz Chaim really means over here is tahainu shelo yisha b'shtias roiv hakais. There should not be a time greater than the amount of kedei achilas pras when you're drinking the roiv revius. Drink a roiv of a revius in less than the zman of kedei achilas pras. The kedei achilas pras means the amount of time it takes a person to eat a half of a loaf. That's the zman. That's the wording that they used in the time of the Mishnah, the time of the Gemara. In contemporary terms, this is somewhere between 3 minutes and 9 minutes, depending on the shita that you go according to. My Rebbe always said, Berurah Feinstein always said the name of his father, you should figure 3 minutes. You don't want to delay. It shouldn't take you 3 minutes to drink a roiv revius. Now, just to put this in perspective, we said that a revius is approximately, it's somewhat less than 3.5 ounces. So when we're talking about a roiv revius, an ounce and 3/4, we're not talking about a whole lot of wine. There's no reason it should take more than a kedei achilas pras. But if somebody is doing wine tasting, so somebody is going and sip and sip and sip and sip, then it can take more than a kedei achilas pras to drink a roiv revius. And the problem is that if you do that, says the Mishnah Berurah, if it takes you longer than that amount of time to drink this measurement of wine, then the drinking is not considered to be one act of drinking. The beginning of your drinking is not connected to the end of your drinking. And if that's the case, then it's not one act of drinking, and you did not drink the required measurement of wine in one drink. So you wouldn't be yotze in the mitzvah of dalet kaisais. If you delay longer than kedei achilas pras, even b'diavad, you're not yotze the mitzvah. And you would have to drink a kais over again in order to fulfill the mitzvah. Even if we're dealing with the later kaisais, the third kais or the fourth kais. Now, the novelty over here that the Chavetz Chaim is telling you is, if you remember yesterday, we said that by the third kais and the fourth kais, there's a potential problem of drinking any extra kaisais after the third kais or after the fourth kais, because it's nireh k'moisef al hakaisais. It looks like you're adding on to the dalet kaisais, because really we're not supposed to drink any optional wine after the third kais, between the third kais and the fourth kais, or after the fourth kais. So what are you doing drinking wine now? It must be that you're adding on another kais. So what, you have 5 kaisais, everybody else has 4 kaisais, you have 5 kaisais. So sometimes we have this problem that we don't want you to drink another kais, even if your drinking of the original third kais maybe wasn't 100% lechatchila. we don't want you to drink another kais because nira kemoisef ala kaisais. However, over here, where your drinking was not a good drinking, where you delayed more than kedei achilas pras in the drinking of the kais, so that your drinking did not fulfill the mitzvah at all, over here you must drink another kais. De'ein kan mishum moisef al hakaisais. And over here we're not going to worry about this problem of nira kemoisef al hakaisais, kevin de l'kulei alma lo yotza, because in a situation where everybody agrees that you were not yotza the mitzvah, you did not fulfill your mitzvah of daled kaisais, we're not going to tell you that you should not drink another kais because of a potential concern. Somebody might look at you and it might look like you're being moisef ala kaisais. You weren't yotza the mitzvah at all. If you are yotza the mitzvah according to some shitas, like we said yesterday, let's say you drank the third kais and you neglected to do haseba. You neglected to drink it while reclining. So according to the Rav Yah, you're yotza anyway, because according to the Rav Yah, you don't need haseba. So all right, we're going to rely on the Rav Yah, and we're going to tell you don't go ahead and drink another kais because nira kemoisef ala kaisais. But over here, if you took longer than a kedei achilas pras to drink a roiv revius, there's no shita that holds that you're yotza the mitzvah. And if you're not yotza the mitzvah, you must drink another kais to be yotza the mitzvah. U'lechatchila. Says the Mishnah Berurah, lechatchila, the best way to fulfill the mitzvah of the daled kaisais, yesh lizayer, you should take care, shaloi lishais b'shtias roiv hakais, that you shouldn't take longer in drinking that roiv of a revius, yoser mikdei shtias revius, longer than the amount of time it takes a normal person to drink a revius of wine. You should drink it in a very quick way. Lachush l'der rishayna hamavayar b'simin taf reish yud beis ayin sham, because in so doing you will fulfill the first opinion that is mentioned in simin taf reish yud beis. This is the sheet of the Rambam. The Rambam holds that in order for a drink, see, by eating, the Rambam agrees that in order for an act of eating to be considered one act of eating, you have the time period of kedei achilas pras. As long as you eat what you're eating in that time span of kedei achilas pras, is considered one act of eating. If you take longer than kedei achilas pras, then you have a problem. But by drinking, the Rambam says, the shear is not kedei achilas pras, the shear is kedei shtias revius, the amount of time it takes a person to drink a revius of wine. So in order to be yotza, the sheet of the Rambam, says the Mishnah Berurah over here, that really when it comes to the daled kaisais, you should try to drink the minimal amount to fulfill the mitzvah in the time it takes a normal person to drink a revius. Nevertheless, post facto, if you took longer than that amount of time to drink the minimal requirement for the third kais or the fourth kais, we're not going to tell you to drink again, because we're going to worry about nira kemoisef ala kaisais, because this is only to be yotza the sheet of the Rambam. But according to most other sheetas, you are yotza. So we don't want you to drink an optional kais after the third kais or the fourth kais just to fulfill the requirement of the Rambam. But if it would be a problem by the first kais or the second kais, then the Mishnah Berurah says Yachsa v'yishta, you should drink again. And now the Chavetz Chaim puts over here, and he brings this down from the Magen Avram and the Eliyah Rabbah, that lichatchila, the best thing would be that you should drink the minimal requirement, the minimal amount of wine to be yotza the mitzvah, the roiv revius. You should drink it bebas achas, at one time, one drink, gulp. That should be the roiv revius. And again, you're not talking about a whole lot. You're talking about a little bit more than a shot. It's a little bit, well, maybe it's double a shot. It's approximately 1 3/4 ounces. 1 3/4 ounces is not a whole lot to drink in one shot. Okay, now we continue on. Let's go up to the Shulchan Aruch. Let's go to Sif Yud. Mi she'enoi shoyse yayin. Somebody who does not drink wine all year round, he does not drink wine. Mipnei shemazikai, because it harms him. He doesn't feel well after he drinks wine. Or he hates wine. He can't stand the taste of wine. Sarich litchaik atzmai, he should press himself. Velishtais, and he should drink by the Seder night. Lekayim mitzvahs arba kaisais, in order to fulfill the mitzvah of dalet kaisais. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut lamed hey. Mipnei shemazikai, He doesn't drink wine all year round because the wine harms him. What does this mean that the wine harms him? Says the Chavetz Chaim, Rotza Loimar, what the Shulchan Aruch wants to say is, Shemitztar b'shtiyasai, he suffers from the drinking of wine, v'kayev b'roishai mizeh, and he gets a bad headache from drinking wine, and therefore he doesn't drink wine. However, says the Chavetz Chaim, ve'ein b'chlal zeh kisheyipa lemishkav mizeh. We're not talking about somebody who suffers so greatly from drinking wine that he's neifel lemishkav, that he actually becomes bedridden from drinking wine. Says the Chavetz Chaim in the Shar HaTzion, Eis Katan Nun Beis, the bottom of the first column of the Shar HaTzion, came nearly Pashat. Chavetz Chaim says that to him this is obvious. If somebody is nafal mishkav, if somebody becomes bedridden from drinking wine, certainly the Shulchan Aruch would not say that such a person has to press himself to drink the wine for the Daled Kaisais to be mekayim the mitzvah of Daled Kaisais. Why? The Ein Zed Derech Cherus, says the Chavetz Chaim in the Shar HaTzion. The whole concept of the Daled Kaisais is because it shows Cherus, it shows freedom and luxury, that we're sitting and we're drinking wine by the Suda, and we have to drink 4 cups of wine. What kind of Cherus is this? If somebody's mamsh going to get sick, if he's going to be bedridden from drinking wine, that's not Derech Cherus. Such a person does not have to drink wine. I know that I think it's brought down in the Dirshu, even in one of the footnotes. Let's see if I could find it quickly over here. In footnote 43, he brings down over here this, that the Shulchan Aruch is saying that you should press yourself to drink wine for the Daled Kaisais. V'hainu dafka, this is only ba'ifin shenanek tzas b'shtiyas hayayin, if he has at least some hana, some pleasure from the drinking of the wine. Avalim humos be'enav, but if the wine is mamish repulsive to him, ve'ena yachal ishtoisa klal, to the extent that he mamish can't drink it, he's repulsed by it. When he starts drinking the wine, he gags from the wine. Das hagayin shloim al yashiv she'ein tzarich lishtois yayin, and such a person does not have to drink wine. Mishum she'ein b'shtiyah kazu derech cherus klal. This person is not exhibiting cherus at all by drinking wine. The same way the Chavetz Chaim just said, by somebody who's going to become bedridden by drinking wine. Such a person, there's no cherus at all in drinking wine. So the Chachamim would not make him go, the Chacham wouldn't be misakin that he should drink Daled Kaises of Yayin in such a case. So such a person does not have to press himself to try and go ahead and drink wine. What should he do? We'll discuss that momentarily. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Eis Katan Lamed Vav, Lekayim mitzvahs. The Shulchan Aruch said he should press himself to drink wine in order to properly fulfill the mitzvah of the Daled Kaisos. Masha'ein kain b'Shabbosais v'Yomim Tovim, but this is not the case on Shabbos and on Yom Tov when it comes to Kiddush, because over there, Yachal l'shmoya Kiddush mayacher v'yotza bazeh. By Kiddush on Shabbos and Yom Tov, you do not have to drink wine in order to be becoming the mitzvah of Kiddush. You could hear Kiddush from somebody else who's going to drink wine. It's only now by the Seder night, al hacha, but here by the Seder, by Daled Kaisais, chal chiyav ashtia al kaladam. There's a chiyav on drinking the yayin, not just hearing Kiddush or hearing a bracha. You need to drink the wine to be becoming the mitzvah of Daled Kaisais. Lamed Zayin, Arba Kaisais. If you have trouble drinking wine, remember, says the Chavetz Chaim, you always have the option of diluting the wine. However, you can only dilute it to the extent when this diluted wine would still be roy to fulfill the mitzvah of Kiddush. The ratio of water to wine, according to the Ramah, is a 1-to-6 ratio. If you have once you have 6 parts of water against 1 part of wine, according to the Ramah, that's diluted to the extent where you could no longer use it for Kiddush. And then here too, you would not be able to use it for Arba Kaisais. But if it's a dilution that's less than that, so if you have 1 part wine to 5 parts of water, you could still use it. So the Chavetz Chaim is pointing out, you have difficulty drinking wine, remember that you could do quite a dilution over here. So dilute it if you have to. Achen be'inan sheyeh adayin roy lekiddush ayin le'el siman areish ayin beis sif cotton tezayin b'Mishnah Berurah. V'gam yochel likach yayin tzimukim or chamar bedina. You could use some kind of a raisin wine, or if you're really pressed, if you really cannot drink the wine, you could use a chamar medina. You could use a beverage that is considered chashuv in the locale where you are. Now I know they bring down over here, see if I can find it here, in the dirshu in the footnote 42. They bring down some interesting psakim over here. If somebody falls under one of these categories where he cannot drink wine for the dalat kaisais, either he's nafal lemishkav, like the Chavetz Chaim said, or he's totally repulsed by it, like Rabbi Yashiv said, das hagoyin Reb Nissen Karelitz sheyishtem mitzah shkoliyos. This is written in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, Reb Nissen Karelitz suggested that you should drink grapefruit juice. V'chein das hagoyin Reb Nissen Shalom al Yashiv shemitz hadorim, citrus juices like grapefruit juice, orange juice, nechshav l'chamar medina. At least in Eretz Yisrael, these were called chamar medina. Maybe it's because the citrus in Eretz Yisrael is so incomparably delicious. I know every now and then in the Costco by me, they have Israeli grapefruits. And I long for those Israeli grapefruits. I buy them. I'm mafresh trumas and maasros on them, unless I could ascertain that the company that produced them is Nemon in separation of trumas and maasros. If not, so I'm mafresh trumas and maasros on it. And those grapefruits, there's nothing like them. So it could be that in Eretz Yisrael, the citrus is so beyond delicious that the citrus juices over there have a din of chamar medina. They're a chashuv, a beverage that you would serve to a guest. Even though it's a little bit difficult to call these juices chamar medina, since you don't want to totally be mevatel the mitzvah of dalat kaisais, yishte mitzvah la mitzvah dalat kaisais, you should drink such juices to be mekayim the mitzvah of dalat kaisais. Or le'inyan anidayin ezer mashkim nechshavim chamar medina, he sends you back earlier. So chamar medina could be a little bit tricky. Chamar medina, Rav Moshe, I think, used to say that chamar medina has to be a beverage that you would honor a guest with. It's something that people would drink even if they're not necessarily thirsty, because it has chashivas. So, for example, you offer somebody a l'chaim, you offer somebody a shot of schnapps. He's not drinking the shot of schnapps because he's thirsty. He's drinking it because of the honor, because of making the l'chaim. Maybe a beer is that way. I'm not sure. Maybe coffee. You offer somebody a coffee. A guest comes in, let me make you a hot coffee. A lot of people drink a coffee not so much because they're thirsty. It's you're drinking a coffee. So that could be chamar medina. Okay. Now we go to the Shulchan Aruch Sif Yud Aleph. Mitzvah lachzar achar yayin adoim. There's a mitzvah that for the dalet kaisais you should try to get red wine. Im ein alavan meshubach mimenu. Unless the white wine that you have happens to be meshubach. It's more chashuv than the red wine. But the preference would be for red wine. Says the Mishnah Berurah yayin adoim. Why do we want red wine? The ksiv, because the pasuk writes in Mishlei, al tera yayin ki yis adam. Don't look after the redness of wine. Shlomo HaMelech in Mishlei over there in the pasuk is warning a person, do not get drawn after wine. And the pasuk ends off, the pasuk says, because somebody who drinks too much wine, he goes after mesharim. He goes in straight paths. What's wrong with going in straight paths? What the problem over here is that this person is not going in straight paths. He's going in a very crooked path. A person who becomes an alcoholic, a person who drinks too much wine, he gets drawn after Olam Hazeh, he gets drawn after Mishagasin. We know how alcoholism could destroy people's lives, but when you try to talk to him and you try to tell him to get off the bottle, he doesn't see a problem. He thinks everything is fine, because he thinks that the derech akum, the twisted path, he thinks it's meisharim. To him, it looks like it's straight because he's drunk. A drunk person, it looks like he's going in a straight line when he's walking in a crooked line. So the pasuk over there says, Al tera yayin ki yis adam. Do not look at beautiful red wine. Don't get tempted by wine. Now, what does the pasuk say, though? From this pasuk, we see that yayin is red. We say the beauty of wine that somebody would get drawn after is the redness of wine. It doesn't say al tera yayin ki yislavein, because it's white, alteri yain ki yisadam. Alma, you see from here, ha'admimus, that the redness of wine, maila v'chashivus, it's a maila, it's a chashivus, the fact that wine is red. So therefore, by the Seder, we want chashav wine, so go after red wine. And furthermore, zecher ladam, shahayapare sheichet b'nei Yisrael. The redness of the wine is also a zecher to the dam, not a zecher to the dam of the makkah that the Mitzrayim got punished with. A zecher to the dam, the blood of the Yiddish kindalach, the blood of the Yiddish kindalach that Paroi would slaughter to bathe in, the blood of the Yidden that were killed in the Ya'ar. So to arouse the Rabbeinu Shalom's Rachmanus, we drink red wine to remind the Rabbeinu Shalom of our suffering. Our minig, my family's minig, interestingly enough, is not to use a silver kais by the Seder, but to use crystal kaisais by the Seder, so that the redness of the wine should be visible to all. So I use a chashav, a crystal kais by the Seder, and everybody around my table uses crystal, not silver. In locales where never they had a problem with blood libels, where the Goyim would make blood libels against the Jews, so then it says that we should not use red wine because we don't want to encourage the spreading of these horrible rumors. Now we continue in the Shulchan Aruch Sif Yud Beis. Yotzin b'yayin mevushal. You could fulfill the requirement of the Daled Kaises with yayin mevushal, with cooked wine, uvi konditain, and with spiced wine. Says the Mishnah Berurah Kat Lamites. Yotzin b'yayin mevushal. You could be yotz in the mitzvah with cooked wine. Ulechatchila, but lechatchila, preferably toiv yotzin likach yayin she'ena mevushal. It's better to use yayin that is not mevushal for the Seder. Im loy shar mevushal toiv yoser, unless the yayin mevushal is more chashiv than the yayin she'ena mevushal. V'chein kai gavlo le'inin konditain. We should stay away from konditain preferably, but if the spiced wine is more chashiv than the other wine you have available, use the konditain. Now, why is it preferable to use yayin she'ena mevushal over yayin mevushal? The reason is because there is a shita that yayin mevushal is actually not a bayer priagafen, that cooking the wine somehow damages the wine, and therefore once the wine is cooked, the bracha is actually a shahakal. There is such a shita. We don't paskin that way, but there is such a shita. So kedei to be yotze the mitzvah of Daled Kaisos, according to all the shitas, the preference would be to use yayin she'ena mevushal. Now, of course, I have to mention, you have to make sure that if you're using yayin she'ena mevushal, you don't run into a problem of yayin nesech. You don't have Eina Yehudim around who are going to be handling the wine, where you could run into a yayin nesech problem. Certainly, if you're around Eina Yehudim, you have to be much more careful, and you should use yayin mevushal, not yayin she'ena mevushal. Ice cut mem of a konditain, spiced wine, pirish, shem urev by dvash upilpalin, wine that has honey and spices mixed into it. Vayin el siman reisha in base of ches b'masha kasam l'sham duadin l'kan. You see what we discussed in Hilchos Shabbos by Kiddush, and it applies here as well. Let's go back to the Shulchan Aruch Sif Yud Gimel. Afilu ani hamisparnes min tzedakah. Even a pauper who has to get his income from tzedakah, he's supported by tzedakah. Yimkar malbushai, if necessary, he should sell an article of clothing. A yilveh, or he should borrow money. A yasker atzmai, or he should rent himself out as a servant. B'shvil yayin la'arba kaisos, so that he should be able to purchase wine for the Daled Kaisos. Says the Mishnah Berurah Kat Mem Aleph. Afilu ani. Let's say somebody has exactly enough wine for 4 kaisos, and this is wine that's already diluted, so he cannot dilute it any further. So he has diluted wine enough for 4 kaisos. How should he comport himself? Yikachem hakol l'layla rishona. Mishnah Berurah says he should use all of that wine for the Daled Kaisos on the first night of Yom Tov. Because remember, anu kviim b'yarcha, we have a proper calendar. So we know which night of Yom Tov is, so to speak, the real night of Yom Tov. That's the first night of Yom Tov. So the first night of Yom Tov, take the wine that you have and be yotze the mitzvah of Daled Kaisos. The second night of Yom Tov is really Minig Aveseinu B'Yadeinu. We keep a second night of Yom Tov. Originally, it was because of Sveika D'Yoma. We didn't know which day is really Yom Tov, but now we paskin that we don't really have Sveika D'Yoma. Now it's because Minig Aveseinu B'Yadeinu. So for that, it's better you should have all 4 kaisais on the first night and not have any kaisais on the second night. The ner beisai adif me'arba kaisais. However, neris of Shabbos or neris of Yom Tov take precedence over dalit kaisais. Mishum shalom bayis. Because one of the reasons for the ner beisai, for the licht, for the Yom Tov licht or the Shabbos licht, is shalom bayis. People shouldn't be tripping over their feet and bumping into each other and knocking things over. That causes strife in the house. We want to have peace in the house. Shalom bayis comes before anything, even before dalit kaisais. How about if somebody only has enough wine for 2 or 3 kaisais? So he doesn't even have enough wine for a full 4 kaisais for the first night. How should he comport himself? Ayin Siman Taf Pei Gimel b'Magen Avram Sif Katan Beis Reish HaSiman Echinai. We'll get to that in Taf Pei Gimel. How do we prioritize the kaisais if we do not have enough kaisais for dalit kaisais? Ais Katan Mem Beis. The Shulchan Aruch said Yimkar Malbushai. This person should actually sell his clothing. Hainu im agabam loy nasdulay. If the gabayit tzedakah did not give him wine for the dalit kaisais, and he doesn't have any wine, sell an article of clothing. He can't patter himself and say, look, I live off tzedakah. The gabayit tzedakah didn't give me money for dalit kaisais. I'm patter. No, you have something you could sell. You have a jacket you could sell. You have a coat that you could sell. Go ahead, sell it. Raise the money for dalit kaisais. Nevertheless, in reality, the gabayit tzedakah are required to give the aniyim enough wine for dalit kaisais. Utamani, the Chavetz Chaim says, I wonder al ezem on certain locales she'ein mashkichin al zeh, that they don't pay attention to this requirement that the gabayit tzedakah are required to give the aniyim enough to have dalit kaisais. Haloi dev is a pashut to mavur become a plaiskim. This is something, an obvious halacha, and it's mavur. It's explained very clearly by many paiskim that the gabayit tzedakah are mechuyev to support an ani to the extent that he should have enough wine to dalit kaisais. Mem gimel la'arba kaisais. We have to give. He should sell what he can in order to raise money to have dalit kaisais shel yayin of wine, oy chamar medina, or at least to have 4 kaisais of chamar medina, like we said, grapefruit juice, citrus juice. Maybe beer, man, not beer. Beer you can drink on Pesach. Coffee. V'arba kaisais niskenu keneged arba l'shonei shel geula. Chavetz Chaim reminds us over here that the dalit kaisais. Why do we have 4 kaisais by the Seder night? It is the Chachamim decreed the 4 kaisais, and they represent the dalit l'shonei shel geula. The 4 terms that the Rebbeinu Shalom uses to describe the geula, the Exodus. The Rebbeinu Shalom said, I will take you out. That's 1. V'hitzalti eschem, I will save you. V'ga'alti eschem, I will redeem you. V'lakachti eschem, and I will take you li la'am, to myself as a nation. So keneged these dalit l'shonais, this is a Bereshis Rabbah. I think it's Bereshis Rabbah, not Shemais Rabbah. That's why we have the dalit kaisais keneged the dalit l'shonais shel geula. Says the Shulchan Aruch in Sif Yudalad. Gam anoshim chayavais ba'arba kaisais. Women are also required. They're obligated to drink the dalit kaisais ubechol mitzvahs and hagais paisei alayla, as well as all the other mitzvahs that take place on the Seder night. Matzah, maror, sipur yitzias Mitzrayim. Women are chayiv in all of it. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cotton mem dalit. Gam anoshim chayavais. The women are also obligated. The afshu mitzvah shazman grama, even though these are mitzvahs asay shazman grama, these are positive commandments that have fixed time periods when you could fulfill them. And normally we say that women are not obligated in those kind of mitzvahs. That's why women are not obligated to say Kriya Shema in the morning and at night. Why? Because there's a fixed time when you could do it. Women are not obligated in mitzvahs that have fixed times because they have other demands on their time. They have to take care of the baby. They have to prepare for their husbands. They have to take care of the household. So they're usually not obligated in mitzvah sasei shazman grama. Yet over here, by dalit kaisais, by achilas matzah, These are also mitzvah shazman grama. You could also only fulfill them by the Seder night, but still women are obligated. Nevertheless, they are obligated. Because the nace, the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim, applied to the women as well. The women were also saved from Mitzrayim. They were also redeemed from Mitzrayim. And therefore, the requirements of the mitzvahs that we do to remind us to celebrate Yetzias Mitzrayim apply equally to women. What other mitzvahs is the Shulchan Aruch referring to when he says the Daled Kaisais and the other mitzvahs that are noyeg in the night of the Seder, like eating matzah, eating mar, and saying over the Haggadah. Says the Shulchan Aruch further on. We go to Sif Tezvav. Tinoikais shehigiu lechinuch, young children that have already reached the age where they are ripe for chinuch, where they can be trained into the fulfillment of mitzvahs. Mitzvah liten lechalechad kaisai lefanav. It would be a mitzvah to give each one of these children their own kais for the Daled kaisais. Says the Mishnah Berurah, mitzvah liten avalena ma'akiv. It's not ma'akiv. You don't have to give them their own kais. There is a sheet in the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, who says that children, even if they're yil lechinuch, are not even chayiv in the Daled kaisais because drinking wine is not a cheres for them. Kaisai lefanav mem zayin. It's a mitzvah to give them their own kais. Ayin b'sivin reish ayin aleph siv yud gimel b'bir halacha shetzidagnu the katan etzarch lishtais roiv revius. How much of the kais does a katan have to drink? Is the minimum amount of wine required to fulfill the mitzvah? Is it the same for a katan as it is for a gadol? Says the Chavetz Chaim, no. A katan would only have to drink a mole lugma of his own. A mole lugma is a cheekful. We say that the minimum amount of wine to be yotze the mitzvah of Daled Kaisais is a roiv revius, the majority of a revius. That's also the amount of wine that's called a mole lugma, a cheekful. But a child has a smaller cheek, so he doesn't have to drink as much. Now we go further. Let's go into the Shulchan Aruch to the words of the Ramah. By me, it's 4 lines off the bottom in the middle of the line. Haggah says the Ramah, Ve'ein likach kais shepiv tsar. We should not use for the Daled kaisais a cup that has a narrow opening. Ke'ein klug gluz. I don't know exactly what that is. Why? Mipnei shelo yuchal lishtais revius ke'echad. Because if the kais has a very narrow opening, an insufficient amount of wine is going to come out of the opening at one time, and it's going to be difficult to drink a revius in one shot. It's going to be hard to get the necessary volume of wine out of the opening to be able to drink the minimum requirement of wine in a short enough time period. So we want you to have a kais with a regular opening. Continues the Ramah. Ubekais birkas hamazon, when it comes to the third kais, which is the kais on benching, without this reason that the narrow opening is going to prevent you from drinking enough wine in a short enough time period, there's another reason why you can't use such a kais. What does the Ramah say over there? The Ramah says over there, we know by benching, one of the requirements of the kais of benching. All year you can make birkas hamazon a la kais. It's not only by the Seder. You could always have a cup of wine by birkas hamazon when you're benching with a mezumin. But one of the requirements for the kais shel bracha of benching is that the one who's benching is supposed to look at the kais the entire time that he's benching. He shouldn't be looking here and there and there. Why is that? So the Mefarshim say it's shaloi mesiach daitoi. We don't want him to take his mind off of benching. When a person is benching, we want him concentrating on benching. We don't want a person benching and he's looking out the window and he's looking at his phone and he's looking at his friend and making funny faces. When a person is benching, it's a mitzvah daraisa. A person is supposed to be focused. He's supposed to be concentrating on benching. So if you have a bencher, you can look at a bencher. But Chazal said you usually have a kais. It was the custom to make birkas hamazon normally on a kais. So you have a kais, look at the kais. Not because we want you to see the kais, but because the Chazal wanted to give you something to focus on. And they wanted to give you something that is linked to the mitzvah. The kais is the kais shel bracha. So by focusing on the kais shel bracha, that will keep your mind on benching. It will keep you concentrating on benching. Over here, the Ramah says that when it comes to benching, anyway, you shouldn't use a kais with a narrow opening, because we want you to be able to look at the wine. You're supposed to be able to look into the kais so that you're concentrating on benching. What's linked to the Birkas Hamazon? Yayin. It's Birkas Hamazon al Hayayin. So we want you to be able to see the wine clearly. If you have a kais with a narrow opening, you cannot see the wine clearly. So that's why the Ramah says, without this reason, you can't drink enough volume quickly enough. You still should not use a kais with a narrow opening. This also applies to Kiddush. Says the Mishnah Berurah, a nice cut in Mem Zayin. Mem Zayin. No, one second. No, Ois cut Mem Ches. Mipnei. Ukein shemavur lekaman b'sim tofayin heisef aleph l'inyan matzah. Ubediavad eina ma'akivim lo yisha. Harbe kutalel b'sif cut lam dalit. The Chavetz Chaim is reminding us over here. He's telling you, I don't want you to use a kais with a narrow opening, because you're not going to get a great enough volume of wine out, and it's going to take you too long to drink the wine. He's reminding us that later on, we're also going to see by matzah that you're supposed to eat the share of matzah in a short time period. I've cut mem test by benching. The Ramah said, there's another reason you shouldn't use a kais with a narrow opening, because like we say over there in Hilchas Birkas Hamazon, you're supposed to be able to look at the wine while you're benching, like I explained. Now we go to the final sif in this Siman, sif Tez Zayin. Says the Mechaber, mitzvah lechalek latinoikos kloyos ve'egoizim. It's a mitzvah that by the Seder night you should give out to the children kloyos, or like roasted grains, ve'egoizim, and nuts, kadei sheyiru shinoi, so that the children should see that something out of the ordinary is happening here, v'yeshalu, and that will drive them to ask the questions that we want them to ask. Why are we doing things different on this night? So the kloyos and the egoizim, those were the candies of that time period. So we want to give the kids candies so that they should realize something is going on here, and they should stay up and they should ask us questions. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cut into Zayin v'yeshalu ritzoyno loymar. What the Mechaber wants to say over here is shal yedei zeh, through giving these treats to the children, yisayru, they will be aroused, lasum leiv, to pay attention, al kol hashinuyim, on all of the things that we're doing different, uminhage laila zeh, all of the customs of this night, v'yeshalu she'eloi samuvuarim benusach manishtana. It will drive them to ask the questions of the Manishtana. B'shas Isa, and the Gemara, it says another reason why we should give out treats to the kindalach, kedei shelo yishnu v'yishalu, so that they shouldn't fall asleep, and instead they should stay up and they should ask the Manishtana. Says the Chavetz Chaim, v'tzarich la'oreram shelo yishnu ad achar avodah mayinu. We have to strive to keep the children awake and attentive until after avodah mayinu, not until after Manishtana, until after avodah mayinu. So that they should hear and understand the concept and the lessons of Yitzias Mitzrayim. The Ikar Mitzvah hu hatshuva al she'elas b'nai, because the Ikar Mitzvah of he got it to Levincha by the Seder night is not the question, it's the answer. U'kamay shenemar he got it to Levincha by Yom Huleimar barvo zeh. V'loy kamay she'oisen eza hamayim, not like many people do. Sha'achar amiras manishtana, that after the kids ask manishtana, manichim la'iladim leilech v'lishay, now they let them go and go to sleep. V'einam yoidim shum tshuva al she'elasam, and they never got an answer to their question. The ikar is the answer, not the question. So you got to keep them up until at least avodah mayim. Okay, I'm going to push ahead a little bit because, like I said, I want to try to catch up every day a little bit more. So let's start Siman Taf Ayin Gimel. Dinei Kais Rishon, the halachas of the first Kais, the Seder HaPesach, and the halachas of the Seder Ad Kais Hasheni, until the second Kais, Uboy Zayin Seifim, and here we have 7 Seifim. Says the Mechaber, Moizgin loy kais rishain. At the beginning of the Seder, you pour the first kais. Umekadesh alav, and you make kiddush over the first kais. Umevarech shehechiyanu, and you also make the bracha of shehechiyanu. V'imchal b'Shabbos, and if the Seder night fell out Friday night, Omer vayichulu, you say vayichulu, you add Shabbos into the kiddush. Says the Mishnah Berurah Katan Aleph, Umekadesh alav, you make kiddush on the first kais. Very important halacha, says the Chavetz Chaim. Kaidem sheyikadesh, before you make kiddush by the Seder, yechavein, you should have in mind sharoitza lekayim mitzvahs kiddush, that you have intent to fulfill the mitzvah of kiddush hayom, the gam mitzvahs arba kaisais, and also the mitzvah of daled kaisais. Shekaishal kiddush, because the kais of kiddush who echad me'arba kaisais is the first of the 4 kaisais. The yesh daig and Leimar, there are those who have the custom to verbalize this and to say a nusach, hareini muchad, I am hereby prepared lekadesh, to make kiddush, or lekayim mitzvahs arba kaisais. Rak, however, shetzrichin lizar, you should take care, shelo yomru zel achar kiddush. If you're going to say that hineni mamuchan u'mezumen or hareini muchan, you have to say it before kiddush, not after kiddush, before you drink the wine. Shaharei berach ala kais bar priagafen. The bracha of bar priagafen is in the beginning of kiddush. Now, if you're going to finish kiddush, it's hareini mekareini meichin. What was his nusach? Hareini muchan. That would be a hefsek. You can't do that. You have to do it before kiddush. The kaidam haggadah yechavein, and before you read the haggadah, you should have intent. A yoimar, or you should verbalize lates yedei mitzvah sipri yitzias mitzrayim. This is very important. I do this by my Seder. Before we make Kiddush, I announce to everyone, you should have in mind, we're being Mekayim the mitzvah of Kiddush and the first of the Daled Kaisais. By Magid, we're being Mekayim a mitzvah aseh of Sipri Yitzias Mitzrayim. Eating matzah, you're being Mekayim a mitzvah of Achilas matzah. Ice Katan Aleph, Umevarech Shechayanu. As part of Kiddush, we make a bracha of Shechayanu, Kaidam Ashtia, before we drink the wine. If somehow you forgot to make the shechiyanu before you drank the wine of Kiddush, mevarek akakach, you can make the shechiyanu afterwards. Whenever you remember on the first day of Yom Tov, even the next morning. Even if you're walking in the middle of the street. The hazman aregel kai, because the bracha of shechiyanu beikar is going on the Yom Tov. You're thanking the Rabbeinu Shalom Shechiyanu, who kept us alive, v'kiyamanu, and supported us, v'higiyanu, and allowed us to reach this significant time of Yom Tov. So you can make that bracha even during the day on the first day of Yom Tov. If you remembered on the second night of Yom Tov, after the second day of Yom Tov already began, right? You remembered now that you didn't make a shechiyanu yesterday. Yiftar atzmai b'shechiyanu sheyavarek ala kais lachar kiddush. You'll fulfill your requirement of shechiyanu on the next shechiyanu that you're going to make by kiddush by the second seder. V'mshachach levarek shechiyanu b'kiddush leil sheni. Let's say the second night you forgot to say shechiyanu. Afilu and berech kvar b'leil rishain. Even if you did make a shechiyanu on the first night, but you forgot to make a shechiyanu on the second night, chayiv levarech emosai shenizkar b'chol hachag. You have to make that shechiyanu at any point that you remember that you neglected to say that shechiyanu on the second night during the rest of Yom Tov. Dahainu at Seif Yom Tov Achron Shel Golius, all the way until the end of the 8th day, the second day Yom Tov on the second days. V'chein hu adin b'shar Yom Tov mechuyev levarech at Seif Yom Tov. Eis Katan Beis b'Shabbos. On Shabbos, if the Seder night falls out on Shabbos, you add vayichulu into the Kiddush. The Chavetz Chaim points out a peripheral halacha. There is a halacha in Hilchos Shabbos that a person who is alone is not allowed to read from a sefer using a candle, because we're afraid that it's not going to be bright enough for him. He's going to forget himself, not a candle, like a wick, an oil lamp, and he might adjust the wick to make it lighter, to make the oil go better after the wick, and that would be an issa daraisa of havara. So if you're alone, you're not allowed to read from a sefer by a lamp, by a burning lamp. If you're with somebody else, you're allowed to, because we say that the other person will remind you. But to read the Haggadah on Shabbos, it's mutter to read the Haggadah by the Seder on Shabbos to the or of a nair, to the flame of an oil lamp, even if you're alone. We're not afraid that you might move the wick to make it burn better. And the reason is because we say that the Haggadah is well known enough to most people that they're familiar enough with it, even if the light is dim, they could see it well enough to read it, and they're not going to come to adjust the flame. Thank you so much for joining me for this Torah learning. The schus of Liban HaTorah should stand Gans Klal Yisrael in good stead. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Yeshuas and Refuas to those who need it, Parnasa to those who need it, and the Rebbeinu Shalom should protect everybody in Klal Yisrael. We should only know from Simcha. The Rebbeinu Shalom should bring the Bias Goyel Tzedek. From Herav Yameinu, we should have a real Geula. We're learning about Geula. We should all daven for Geula. We want a Beis Hamikdash. We want Mashiach. We want Eretz Yisrael. We want the dinam of Kachim and Taharis. We want everything the way it's supposed to be. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Be well.